Sanford!
Thank you, Rachel Balin. Good to
So
be
good
here.
to see you.
It's good to see you too.
We've got a huge casting director on the podcast today, my friend Michael Sanford of Michael Sanford Casting.
Huge, 5'9", baby, 5'9".
You know, this is great because I caught you on a really hectic, busy morning. So my viewers and my listeners want real life. So tell me, what's going on with you today? What are you working on?
Wow, good question. Yeah, forgive me, I'm going on no sleep, and we're working on.
Me too.
And then we had a job come in yesterday. That's casting and shooting in New York, so I had to get a breakdown out New York time by like 9 a.m. So
is that normal? Is that normal for your job?
It depends on if it's a regional spot. Actually we have an Orkin commercial going that's been going for a month. It's been a very probably one of the longest and most fun campaigns I've been on. Very, very funny spots. But that shoots in Atlanta, and but we've been casting. The actors are coming from Atlanta, but we've also the actors we've cast, and we had callbacks on that last week. But we needed 4 influencers. Yeah, and that's
the
a whole.
Influencers are taking over the actors' jobs, aren't they?
No, well, it's different. We have the actors, but the influencers are. I can't say too much because it's kind of under wraps right now, top secret. But we had we opened the influencer casting nationwide, and we booked our last guy of the 4 last night, really late, probably like around 10 p.m. our time. So, so we have that, and then we have this BMW, the commercial that came in. That's in New York, and we're working on a feature. We're trying to attach a couple of names to a feature right now. So I was working with them. I had a call with them yesterday too. So, but it's good. I'm grateful.
Feature film? Oh my gosh! So you do it all: commercials, movies.
Yeah, you probably don't know that. We started getting into features about 10 or 11 years ago. And, it's still, the bulk of it is still commercials, videos, shorts, industrials, voiceovers. But I would say that there's been a lot more theatrical over the years. We'll work on like 1 or 2 indies a year. And we were just working on our first play. I'd never worked on a play in all these years. New York, born and raised, and have that background.
I love that. And that was, you were looking for veterans, and I helped put a post out.
Yes, you helped me. Thank you. You put a post out.
I was so happy.
And we found veterans through you. We need the Special Forces veterans. And you got the whole SAG-AFTRA committee. Your committee. They've been amazing. Yeah. And VME has been amazing. And it's been such a fulfilling experience. Oh, good for you.
Have you taught at VME?
No, but I did a panel there years ago with some people. The veterans group, right? Veterans and film and media. Yeah, a long time ago. Yes, they changed
their name. I think they changed their name.
Yeah, it was something different.
Yeah,
I think it was something different.
It's so wonderful what you do, Michael. Like, let's take it back for our listeners who don't know you. I mean, this is like, it's just a kind of like friend romance because it's so romantic. We both started as casting assistants, like
in our 20s.
Hollywood dream. The whole Hollywood dream of like, okay, should we tell the other piece that most people don't know?
Which part? The restaurant part?
Yes! Okay, so Michael and I worked in a restaurant together. We won't say which one because it doesn't even exist. And then
it doesn't exist.
That's how long ago it was. And then you and I were casting assistants. And I absolutely love that I've known you so long. And you've become so big in the casting world.
I don't know about that, but I'm grateful to work. Thank you.
I think so. Everyone in town knows you. Like, how did you keep going all these years? Like, what kept you inspired? You've gone, like, you've rode the wave through SAG strikes, Writers Guild strikes. Like, how have you done it?
Wow, interesting you brought that up. Just a quick background. Rachel and I know each other as actors. We worked at a restaurant. Was that the late 80s or early 90s? Or
you know what? Just like, I was born in 1980.
It was you were in. I was wheeling her in a stroller to her table, and she would put the plates on the table, and then I would wheel her back.
Right? Yeah, I was just learning to walk.
That is so funny.
Michael was a bartender.
I was a horrible waiter. So they liked my personality. So they said, let's put you behind the bar. I'm like, I've never bartended. I really learned how to bartend at that job, and I did that for years.
So much.
So how I got into casting was I left the restaurant we won't mention, that's not there anymore, and then I went to another chain. I was bartending, and this commercial casting director would come up and sit up at the bar with her boyfriend. They would order food, and she had me go intern with her. And from there, I started freelancing, as a freelance casting assistant. I think I worked for 20 people, and I think 10 of them were still around, like just on and off. And then in 2000, I opened my own company. I decided at that point, I was really doing more of the casting, and it really started to become a passion, and the acting was kind of like fizzling out. I would find myself wanting to go to her commercial callback with her, the casting director, and blow off my callback. I would much, because I just started to be really interested. Yeah, and it became a natural transition for me. And then in 2000, I opened. And 2 weeks later, we had a 6-month writer's strike. I mean, not a writer's strike, the SAG-AFTRA commercial strike. So I had just gotten married. We just bought a house. She opened her own talent. She was a talent agent. She opened a little boutique agency. I opened my own casting company. And then I literally went back to bartending and catering for like 6 months, and then just started.
And you're like, you see the actors that you just called in. You're like,
hey, I would be serving them drinks. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we're all like at different levels at different times, and then
I agree.
After the strike, I literally had a demo reel, of commercials like that I had started to work on, and then I had put together on my own, and just went knocking on production company doors, and then. One in Santa Monica just took me in, and like we interviewed. I got 2 jobs, and then from that I met the ad agency that was on that commercial, and then they started hiring. I mean, it just became like this whole effect. And how I got into features is because you just had a guest star in your show named Mark Pellington, who's
twice.
Amazing. He's one of my commercial guys, and he calls me to do his commercials, and he was working, and he knew I wanted to do I wanted to get into features and some theatrical, so he was working on we worked on a couple of films with him. I know he mentioned Henry Pooler's Here, When We Found the Girl Who Couldn't, the deaf girl.
Right, it's a great story, you guys. Listen to the Mark Pellington. He talks about Michael finding an actress that you needed. He was an actress, I thought, right?
Yeah, it was an actress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, his casting director was casting. It was Deb Aquila, who's amazing, was casting the film, and they weren't finding this one character. So he checked with her if he could open it up to the commercial market, because there's actors in the commercial world that a lot of times don't have theatrical representation.
Oh, yes, more than not. Yeah.
Yeah, so we opened it up, and we found this amazing girl, Rachel Seifert, and she booked it. But that was like a one-time thing. But then, like a couple of years later, Mark was working on I Melt With You, which was a feature that Heidi Levitt was working on with him. She was executive producing and casting, and Mark said, my commercial guy wants to learn features. Can he help you cast this movie? And she made me one of her associates on it, and she packaged it and put the leads together, and we were finding all like the kids and the smaller roles, like the day players, and when I went to meet Heidi, I went to the Santa Monica Pier where they were shooting the scene with it was Rob Lowe's kid that we cast in the film, and I was watching, and Heidi took me aside and said, hey, it was so great working with you. I got this other movie that is like in your wheelhouse. There's no dialogue. You do commercials. There's a lot of times no dialogue. It's a silent black and white movie. I don't know what's going to happen with it. And it turned out to be The Artist. So that like really,
what?
Yeah. So
you cast The Artist?
Well, I was the associate casting director on it. Heidi brought me on board.
Movie.
It was amazing, and we just watched that whole thing explode. And that's really how it really opened up that world to me, because then I got into the CSA, and we won the casting award.
Society
all of that.
of America.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, how exciting!
Yeah.
So wow, you so much has happened since we talked. You have grown and expanded. Yeah, last time we talked, I might have come in for an audition maybe like 10 years ago
But
at
yeah, it was a while
on La
ago.
Cienega or something. Yeah, I feel
Oh,
like
that
it
was more. That
forever
was like
ago.
15 years ago then, or 20
Oh,
years ago maybe.
wait,
Or no, not
stop!
20. It
You're
couldn't have been.
so
It couldn't have
bad.
been. No, 10
You're
years,
so
maybe 10.
bad.
I could tell you
Shame on
exactly when it
you.
was. It was 12 years. No,
Shame
20
on
years
you
ago
for
we
not
were in the
coming in.
restaurant. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, right.
I didn't go with you. Was that an improv?
Oh, yeah, it was great, Rob. Okay, Michael, for my listeners, can you give me at least 3 or 4 things that every actor should know, could know going into audition for you?
Yeah. First thing is we root for you. We're on your side. We love actors. Most casting directors love actors. I mean, or if they don't, they shouldn't probably be casting. But in my experience, most casting directors are very supportive. We want you to do well. We want you to get the job, and we want you to be yourselves. You don't have to. You just want to. Really want it to be very real. The whole exchange from the minute we meet and hello. Then when you're working and if we're adjusting you, but we kind of set that tone. That's up to us, myself and my crew, to just make people feel welcome, and we kind of pride ourselves on that. We really love actors. It's my background, so that has never got out of me. The passion and the interest has gone out of doing it, but I love actors still, and I love the craft of acting. So I think that's an important thing, and there's no pressure. Actors don't have to nail this stuff, especially commercials. You just have to kind of tap into the essence of the character of what we're trying to see, and we'll always adjust. I want to adjust so I could see if somebody could take direction, and so my clients could see, especially the directors, want to see that the person can take an adjustment, and that's it. Then they've done their job, and the rest is just up to luck. Are they the right character for this product? That because it's always going to be, the product is always going to be the star of the commercial. Basically, it's going to be about the car. It's not going to be about the actor. It is about the actor in the car driving it, but it's still about the car. It's still about the hamburger. It's still about the farm. So I think it just takes a lot of pressure off actors to understand that.
To understand that you're also serving something greater than yourself, right? Which is the product.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because it's very different than doing, like, as an actor, theatrical acting and working on a film or even a television show or a play. We're working in advertising. So it's a very different mindset. It's about producing these wonderful spots. I mean, commercials have become like little short films now, and like some of them are just like, the Super Bowl is like the Academy Awards for us every year. Of like, we watch them,
Right.
and those are like the big ones, and so, but and it's a whole different technique than it is with. That's another important thing. I think every actor should take an on-camera commercial workshop, and there's so
good.
many in town. There's so many good ones, and they just have to.
Do you teach one?
I teach. I'm starting. I was supposed to start one actually this month, but we had to push it to May because of my schedule. And
So if people want to take your class, how do they find it?
Yeah, I'll be teaching at the Deb Aquila's studio, the lady I mentioned before who cast Henry Poole is here. Yeah, she does. She has a wonderful school. It's the Aquila technique, Aquilla, Deb Aquila, and I'm doing a 5-week commercial workshop there starting in May. I don't know if it's going to be an ongoing thing. It's really hard for me. I did teach when I was underground years ago. Remember the place Underground on Ivar?
Yes, I do.
I did a class every Saturday. I did a kids class in the morning and an adult in the afternoon, but it was so much work. So I don't think I could commit to teaching full time, right now. But I would love it. I love, if that might be what I do as I retire and stuff, because it really, I think it really breaks the mystique for actors of what everything is about, in commercials or just in an audition situation. So
Yeah, this authenticity key is so important to me because I teach that in method
yeah,
acting. So people, you want them to be themselves when they come in. And would you say that the style of commercials has changed in that it is more naturalistic?
absolutely. I mean, you're always going to have, it depends, of course, on the spot, but generally speaking, yes, you know, it started with The Office, that show, and everything is very real and very understated, deadpan. An eyebrow raise can get you the book. You could book a job if you could raise your eyebrow for 8 hours on a set all day. Or do you know what I mean? It's very like, there's a lot of deadpan, and especially in the comedic spots. And we work with this one director who, he's actually doing Orchid, and he's big on you know, actors and comedy, and but they're all, every director, even Mark, keep it very real. You know, they want you know, they want actors to. It's not like, remember when we were like young actors, whenever the commercials had that sing-songy rhythm and that lilt.
They
and
were very over the top, which is why I
Yeah.
booked all the time. Because if I make if I make one expression, like my eyes, it's huge, you know. And to calibrate that for the trend of casting, you know, I have to bring it really down to the place where I
Yeah.
feel like I'm doing nothing.
That's right. That's what you just said is the key, where you feel like where it appears like you're doing nothing to the viewer, and that's not always easy. That's why I think the technique is important. You know, the commercial.
Okay, so
the
you
on-camera
actually
technique.
people teach that. They teach that. Okay.
Oh,
Like
God, yeah, there's
sort of
so many-
minimalism. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many. I mean, I could start naming them, but I'm afraid I would leave someone out. But if people
Yeah.
could
No,
email
no.
me, and I'll
We
recommend
want to find your
people.
class. Okay.
Well, Mike-
we
yeah.
want to find your class, which sounds
Well, you can
great.
find my class in May.
my-
Yeah, absolutely. You should find my class. It'll be a 5-week class.
Yeah.
You know, and
I
then
would
maybe
love
we'll
to
continue.
sit in on your class.
Please,
Maybe.
why don't you come in? Yeah,
Maybe.
absolutely. I checked with
Yeah, I would
Deb,
love
but I
to.
would think she would let you.
That
You're a
would be
teacher.
so much
You're an
fun.
actor.
Just to come through to one would be fun. But it's been such a long time. Okay, so do casting directors like actors that have theatrical training on their resume?
Yeah, we just need training. You know, maybe someone. I look for that all the time. But if it's a commercial, let's say, I want actors to feel like they're going to be excluded because they don't have theatrical training. But absolutely, we look for all kinds of. The more training you have, the better. For
Are
any
you looking
medium.
for like Groundling, Second City?
Yeah.
Yes?
For commercials, we are, because a lot of it is improv too. You know, like, or buttons. You know, at the end of it, you're all reading the same copy, but you might do something at the end of a commercial, like, you know, raise your eyebrow. You know, that might, you know, it's like that's a button at the end. You know what I mean? That's putting your own spin on it. So,
Yes.
yeah, improv is super important. When I read a commercial, like when we're casting a commercial, I always say this to actors. I look at the resume from the bottom up. Like, I don't go to your credits first. I go to your training.
I
You know,
love
have you
that
taken
so
an
much.
on-camera workshop? Do you have improv on there? Have you? What are your special skills? You know, like I could tell about so much because we're trying to get a sense of your personality. You know, more than like the type of characters you could play, and if you know that'll come later. But you know, if you have the training, you went to school in Kansas, that'll tell me something about your environment, like where you spent at least your early
Right.
20s. You know, somebody wrote, "I make a mean margarita." We brought him in, you know, for that. We were casting a bartender.
Make us one.
Yeah, make us one. I mean, so your skills are so important. And then I'll always look for footage on commercial or theatrical. If I don't know somebody, I always would love to see footage. But if it's a theatrical audition, we will look at your training first, you know, and your experience, and then we'll go to your credits. But they're never the primary thing. You know, we
That's
want to
so
just make sure people are.
refreshing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
I mean, for
course.
people listening who are starting out, that's very refreshing. Do people still make commercial reels?
They do. Yeah, people do. I don't think it's necessary. I mean, it's good to see them. If I had to choose between a commercial reel or looking at a theatrical reel, even for a commercial audition, I always look at the theatrical reel. A lot of times commercials don't have dialogue, so it's just like a quick shot of somebody, you know, smiling to somebody else, or, you know, and it's great when they have spokesperson copy, or that they're doing, the hero, they call them, they don't even say spokespeople anymore. They want to be hero lead, very natural. Spokespeople makes it sound so commercially. But yeah, I'll look at someone's theatrical reel, just even the first two clips, just to see like the first thing they present, and then the second one, assuming it's different, just to see, get a sense of the range. Plus, you just want to see people move and hear them speak, and you don't get that in a headshot.
A current day, like, I mean, because I did all the majors back in the day, McDonald's, Dodge, Arby's. I mean, you wouldn't want to see people's dated stuff per se, just to see like,
No.
oh, they've been able to hold a national commercial. That's not important.
No, you could put it on your resume. I never recommend putting the products on your resume, because it could like,
Interesting.
yeah,
Conflict.
because it could conflict. If we're casting a Burger King and you have McDonald's listed, even if it was 8 years ago, if the
Right.
client sees that, they're going to be like, well, when did
Like,
she
next.
do that? And
Right.
yeah, you just put the directors you worked with. Commercial list furnished upon request is the standard term. But I
there
see
you
a lot
go.
of actors putting directors they've worked with, because there's some, and a lot of these commercial directors, like we were talking about Mark and
They
Tim,
go
the
on
guy I
to
was talking about, they do features, yeah. So we're all going back and forth. Actors are, from commercials to theatrical and the casting. A lot of casting directors are now, especially casting directors in smaller markets across the country. They cast everything in some of those regions: films, television,
Right.
and commercials.
Versatility is the key. Okay,
Yeah.
I have two more questions, and then I know I have to let you go back to work.
Has it been 30
one-
minutes already? Wow.
Almost.
Oh, wow.
I want to be respectful of your time. I know how busy it is working in a casting office. I guess I have a third extra question. I mean, I
No
just thought of
worries.
this. Don't
Okay.
you thrive on that energy? Because, I worked in casting, as you know, and there's a type of energy, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, that's a little addictive, don't you think, that adrenaline?
Yes and no. I've come away from that energy a little bit. Like I don't mind. It could tend to get, crazy. It always does. It's gonna get like this. Any job we're on, there's deadlines and there's, different departments, and our producers are responsible for so many different things, and one thing leads to another. I do like the hustle and bustle of. I miss the in person a lot. We've only I would
too.
say 80% of what we're doing is still virtual sessions, self tapes, in person callbacks. Sometimes like
okay,
just
good
one
to
or two
hear.
in person sessions, but a lot of people are going back. But I just miss being around the energy in person of actors in the
I
waiting
do
room, of coming into
too.
and my crew in person. We have fun at
know.
work.
It's so chatty and social when you go into a commercial casting office.
Yeah.
Okay, now big question. People are going to want to know this. Where do you find your talent? How do people get on your radar? Where do you search for talent? Do you even have time to search for talent?
You mean other than the breakdown systems? Like there's
Yeah,
breakdowns.
besides breakdowns, yeah. Where do you discover actors?
Yeah, well, a lot of times through those systems, we could open it up, like outside, we'll open, we release it to agents and managers, and then we can open it to actors directly. So I always encourage actors to be on those, even without representation, not spend
So
a
we're
lot of
talking
money,
about
but
Yeah, Actors
great,
Access, Casting
Actors
Networks.
Access, casting networks,
Casting
yeah.
Networks.
And then there's Casting
Anything else?
Frontier too, but
Yes.
that would be more when you get the commercial agent. I think Casting Networks and Actors Access through breakdown services are the two to be on, because Casting Networks has something called Direct Cast for actors that don't have representation. But the other thing is going to showcases. People send me emails. People on social media. We don't really. This is the first time I've ever had to find like influencers at this level. Like we normally don't work on that stuff. So, but we'll post a breakdown on our social media page sometimes if it's something very specific, like the play. We needed actors who had who served in the military. They had to have a military background and experience.
Right.
And then we need special forces veterans too. So that's so
I love that.
specific. I know.
Oh,
so
speaking of, what is your Instagram so people can follow you and see these?
Oh, yeah, it's Sanford Casting, all one word. And then yeah, Instagram. We have a Facebook page, and then Twitter. It's all that same handle. And I have an email for actors. I could give it to you. I'll say it here, but
Sure.
I'll give it. It's msanfordcasting@gmail.com.
That is
Yeah.
so lovely. You make yourself so accessible. I appreciate that. Okay, my last question is, what keeps you inspired so that you can be all that when you come to work? And you have kept this beautiful energy since I met you. You don't seem changed. You don't seem cynical. So the question is, how do you stay inspired?
I'm a
and
good
how do you
actor.
bring that?
No, I'm generally I try to be an optimistic person. It takes a lot of work. I mean, and Rachel's, since we've spent time in our 30s or whatever that was, we both have been through a lot. I know we haven't really spoken, but the life stuff, and it's just how you deal with things that come at you. It could be tragedy, it could be health, divorce.
Right.
So I think a lot of those things just, I've learned to find something good that comes out of that, or something positive. And I'm at a point where, like you said, I'm still doing this. I'm very grateful to still do it. I wake up every day and I feel lucky that I still have work, and different types of work. So, but if when it doesn't work, when it's time to move on, I'll know that too. I just COVID changed so much of my attitude. And yeah, and none of us really know when our time is. So I just try to keep it day by day, and just try to,
Yes.
there's really tough days, but you got to work on having tools to get out of that, whatever that means for you. It could be therapy, it could be meditation, it could be exercise, it could be going on a hike and connecting to the sky, so whatever it is, just to get out of our own, our worlds, and our lifestyle really could be so limiting in this business. So I always encourage actors to live life. Yeah.
I agree. Thank you for talking about that, because no one ever addresses that part of it. It's easy to talk about the industry and, getting work, but how do you maintain, your mental health while you're in this industry? And it's such a long-term commitment to day-to-day, obstacles. Basically, we're always trying to get through that door. And even, and on your side, the obstacles of work and the pressures, and it sounds like you have some coping skills, and I want everyone listening to know. Yeah.
It's important for everyone, just to, because I think I will say actors have it tougher than any other role in our business, like tougher than directors and casting directors and agents and producers and managers. I think because it's yourself. You're putting your soul and it's your own. It's like that's your work, is you. So it could be very, very hard. But I've seen and I try to you'll see it on my page. I try to put positive, funny sometimes, but mostly inspirational things, like for actors, especially. I did something yesterday about the rejection. That really got to you.
I shared that. Yes.
Oh, you did? Okay,
so
you saw that.
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and share it.
It's something to the effect of, and it was posted by another actor, and I shared it from his page, but you don't know, something good will come from that. You don't know what it is, but it will lead to something else, and then in the future you'll say, oh, that's why it was meant for me not to get that for this reason. But don't take it to be about you, that you're wrong, or you're not talented enough, or you don't have a certain look, or you're not enough.
It's so easy to take it personally. I love that
I know.
quote. Man's rejection is God's protection. I love that quote.
Yeah.
Because of course we do. This is like our skin, our bodies, our hair, our souls, our minds, and we're putting that on the line, and it does feel personal. But we know from working in casting, it can be a million reasons why you didn't get the job.
That's right. You might be, there might be somebody already cast, and it might be pairing you might be going in for a young mom, and there just might not work genetically, or or it just might be the wrong fit, and it has nothing to do with you. You might have given the best read, and were the most one of the most talented people that came in, but you can't change the physicality. You can't, but then you'll be right for the next one, and it's just, and you've seen it too as an actress, and also from working in casting. People that you don't like. I always try to get a sense of someone when they come in to the room if I don't know who they are, and from their picture and resume and footage, and before we bring them in if I don't know who they are. But once you start to see them, sometimes magic just happens that you don't expect, and it's like, wow, I didn't expect that, and it's yeah. So I just encourage people not to be hard on themselves.
Right. I love how open you are to discovering people. I think you're a unicorn. I mean, I know there are a lot of great casting people out there. I know there are a lot of great casting people, but you really have a freshness about you and are really willing to look, and really discover people. And that's why you're so successful. You really care about your job.
Thanks. The one thing I will promote while I'm on here is we do a lot of work with the Equity and Entertainment Committee through the CSA. It's like the CSA Inclusion and Diversity Committee. They're renamed the Equity and Entertainment Committee, and we're always holding open calls for underrepresented actors. We did over the last 4 years, we did a whole weekend for performers with disabilities. We did one for veterans. We did one for seniors. We had a Black Actor Initiative, and we did. Did I don't know what I said so far, but we're doing now.
That's pretty incredible.
We're just staying open. Manasa, Middle Eastern, North African, and South Asian. Manasa. And right now we're doing a global one for the Latin world. So go to you'll see it on my, we're having a global open call for Latin, they're saying now, actors. And the deadline.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, and we
What's the deadline? Because there were probably some people listening.
It expanded. It was the end of February, but I believe it's open now until the 8th. Yeah, go to CSA's page, it's Casting Society of America, and it's called La Gente. It's a pink flyer, and it'll give you the links to register. But we're going to go through, people are going to submit self-tapes. And what we did the last time we had all of these, we took it down to the top 20 of each of the open calls we had, and then we presented a link to send to casting offices, studios, networks, agents, just to showcase new people and find new people. We did a transgender weekend. So that's really good, because there's so much. You've seen the playing field change, I'm sure, since you started, where
yes, definitely.
Inclusivity. Everyone is accepted.
Right.
Everyone wants
really
everyone
beautiful.
now.
It's so beautiful. I'm really happy our business has changed that way.
Yeah,
Michael,
we have a way to go, but we're on there.
Yeah, we do have a way to go.
Good to see you, my friends.
At least we're in the right direction. Yeah,
absolutely.
Michael,
we have to. Thank you, Rachel, for having me. I adore you too, and we're going to catch up one-on-one in person.
We are.
Yes.
Let's set up that lunch, and we're going to invite Mark. And I wish you the best of luck on your job today.
Thank you so much, and to you as well. And we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, stay the same beautiful person that you are, and I hope you all get to meet Michael Sanford.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
You.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.